A reading from the Book of Sketch. No? No. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. Hi, everybody. I was just having a little chin wag with Corbano. And listening to... I don't know what I'm listening to, but it sounds great. Okay, so let's get down to it. I'm going to put, do you have a funky, fresh one-page idea? Speak your truth. Yeah. Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a good day. I tried something today. So, Chris, I'm glad you asked. Yesterday, I got a couple nice comments. So, somebody DM'd me, and then another person put it up on Pinterest. What's it called? Instagram. And then somebody was suggesting I should get a Pinterest, is what it was. I had to look into what that is. There's a fun thing I tried yesterday, and that is to do the word balloons on the left-hand side, as is the normal, but I needed them to go up because I wanted to direct the eye up and to play around, moving the eye around with the balloons on the page. And somebody commented on that on Instagram, and somebody sent me a DM on that and said, the person in the DM said, that's against the rules. The rules? Don't tell me the rules. Corbin, Jim says hi. Buddy, Jim says hi. You going to say anything to him? No, he's rude. Well, he means it. He means hi. So I thought, let's see if we can do that again. So I did. It's just because, rules, schmools. You know what I mean? I drafted it. I'm going to send it. I'm doing a drawing. In response to your question, Jim, I'm doing a drawing. But I love Bill. If you Bill Plimpton, people, go check out Bill Plimpton's YouTube. You can see all his animations. Fantastic guy. Anyhow, so this is today's page. Yo. This is how hip hopinist that I am. I mean, when you look at somebody and think urban cool, you're probably not looking at me. Says a guy who's wearing a purple jacket with a green shirt. All right, so yesterday was really fun. The originals. Corbin, we gotta show them the originals. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Get it together. Okay. Yeah, come on, let's go. All right, it's not. So, the original pages, wink, for today's page is, this is this crazy paper. I'll show you. This is the pattern that comes on the paper that I picked up. You can find these in block format on YouTube. And this is really fun to work on. It works really well. I mean, you can get a lot of details in there, a lot of meat and potatoes. So that works out pretty well. And then, of course, the hip-hop dancers are drawn on a piece of white cardstock, and then, the coloring's done digitally. But all kinds of mixed media approaches can be done on this paper, which is really kind of nice. So it was fun. And this is the image that I did during the stream. So I cannot zoom in. I do not have the facility for zooming in. I have a cheap overhead camera that washes out, and I'm sorry for that. Yeah, there's no chance of figuring out. Maybe there. Yeah. Okay, so this one came out pretty well. I like these guys. These dudes, they got a style. Tricky to get tattoos on them, but and then there's the dancers with the funky fresh moves. So this was a lot of fun, wasn't it, Corbin? That's right, it was. Oh, I had a great old time. All right, you gonna pick a direction here? What are you doing? Thank you. Okay. There we go. Zoomed in. Okay, so we've got another one page to do today. What are you going to do? Are you sitting down? Are you moving? He doesn't know what he's doing. All right. Sorry, I got to check on something. So in case, Danger Mouse and Danger Doom, that's what I'm listening to. That's cool. All right, Corbin, going to get right in there and do some work today. Would you like to say hi, Corbin?
Hey, how you doing, everybody? I think it's important that we all take a moment to consider the ramifications of our actions.
What is that?
Okay? So think about that. I'm going to smell some stuff, and I'll get back to you later on,
That's Corbin, everyone. Boy, was that a treat. Yeah. Okay, so he's still sitting here, and we're going to try to work with him in our lab. It's going to be fun. So yesterday's idea was from a number of suggestions from a number of people that just kept adding stuff to it. I didn't do any of the Tina Turner stuff in it, just because, there's plenty of people posting Tina Turner pictures and everything else. And while it's important that we celebrate others and their creativity, I think that we can do that before they die. So I've got some a 3-word suggestion outstanding still. I've got some stuff like Little Bobs Around the World from Frankly Mapley. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention to the talk. Hey, it's Chris. How you doing, Chris? How's is it your summer yet? Your marking's all done? Are you doing are you doing some fun stuff? I've noticed some interesting things posted by you. So so we've got the Little Bobs Around the World by Frankly Mapleton on deck, I think. And then we'll see. We'll see what's... I might do something this weekend. Not tomorrow, because tomorrow we're at a wedding. But I might do something on Sunday afternoon. We'll see, because this is my 99th stream of Everybody Wants to Listen to My podcast. So... yeah, we might do a special 100th episode. Yeah. What it would be? Right? But I don't know. Bust some tasty wraps. Who knows? There's so much we could do. Right, Corbin? He's really helping out today. Chris says, summer school starts on June 6th. I'll be teaching for 6 weeks. Right now, it's preparation week. Boy, oh boy. That's a busy summer. Methinks that someone does like teaching. I do know other people that are, the whole reason I got into teaching is to have summers off. Oh, okay. And there's other people I know who really love teaching. And other people do it for their own reasons. But all right, so I've got Little Bobs Around the World. I'm going to write that on a Post-it. And Corbin is not helping me. Stop. Gives me the heebie-jeebies. All right. Here's our Post-it there, buddy. Does that sound good to you? Sounds good to me, Chris. Okay. Oh, excellent. Chris has got some time to color in between prep time. It's tricky. When you want to find that expressive exploration when, you've got a job that really takes up your processes. And what I mean by your processes is even when you've got time to work on something, sometimes if you get a job that's really mentally intensive, not just physically intensive, everybody always talks about, I'm too tired to draw when I get home, which is a real thing. But the people that, in a role like, let's say teaching, that's mentally exhausting. And it can really be mentally exhausting anyways. And so when you sit down and you go to do some work, sometimes you're just sort of left drained. So awesome. I'm glad you're taking that moment to do some coloring right now. You rarely talk about David Hasselhoff on the stream. Can we just get a little bit more, like 15% more Hasselhoff? What do you think, Corbin? You want to give up your truth?
I was really the car kit.
You got an exclusive today, folks. You got an exclusive. All right, now I'm going to have to try to draw looking over top of you, you goofball. Okay. All right, so we're going to have fun today, which I have fun every day. Who are we kidding? But would you like to know some hot, sweet facts, some Hasselhoffens, as we call them in the Hasselhoffia? Some hot, sweet truths about the Hasselhoff, the Hoffs. Well, some of us, I don't know about everybody, but some of us believe that everyone should, while inebriated, eat hamburgers off the floor. Speak your truth. Yeah. All right, so we're just being silly today. And so today's page is, the suggestion is Little Bugs Around the World from Frankly Mabley. And so we're going to play with the notion here of just free-form scribbly dibbling, right? We're going to draw some big old ears. Corbin, you know what I'm talking about, big ears, right? You know what I'm talking about? I know exactly what you're talking about. Boy, oh boy. He's all full of the comments today. I don't think a lot of people realize that my cat has a voice like Barry White. Yeah, that's the truth. That's a little secret I'm releasing today. So sometimes when you're working on stuff, like it's always about trying to keep rejuvenated and trying to keep your flow going. And I'm a firm proponent, and a way to break a rut is to just start scribbling. And you never know what you're going to see when you do that, and what it's going to turn into. So that tends to be a way that I get away from it. What am I missing? Corbin, why do you hate the Welsh? Are they asking you a question, buddy? His ears perked right up when I said his name. Corbin, why do you hate the Welsh? Nothing? Nothing. He's busy. He's interested in something else. One of my cats is my profile pic. He's Nico. Nice. Yeah, my profile pic is Corbin looking at the camera and, me behind him. Just because somebody's all about the attention. Bit of an attention hog. So today I'm just being silly, and the page is Little Bobs Around the World, and so I thought what I would do is just doodle and just go for trying to put together a composition without too much prep, no prep really, without too much consideration for, where's this going? What's it going to be? What's even the compositional layout? Like, I think it's fun to sometimes just draw, and that's where those happy accidents come in. So, right, Corbin? Yeah. So, Corbin, have you anything to say about the Welsh? I don't like the Cornish either. Oh my God, what are you getting him to reveal here? Give my crown. Let him give him a crown, pal. He's purring away today. He's just really enjoying just being in the center of everything as they do, right? This is one of those. It's a cat stream, right? I'm sure that there's a whole subgenre of cat people's dreams, where I'm not relating that it has anything to do with cats for the most part. It's just clearly all these people that are on these streams are people that possibly have cats, because who else cares? There's got to be dog streams too, for that matter. Dog-centric streams. You gotta admit, I'm gonna let you in on another truth today. I'm a cat person. What? Do you want to know why? Because I'm not throwing a stick for nobody. Yeah. That's my whole reasoning behind it. That's it. Nothing more than that. Everybody talks about, is it really right to be throwing that stick and expecting that your dog's going to give it back? Nobody thinks about whether or not people want to throw the stick. Uh-oh. There you go. You can't have any of that. Feed the beasts. The feral beasts. Hey, everybody. It's Joshua Kimball. Joshua Kimball running for local politics this year. Give him a vote, huh? Give him a vote. Move in the neighborhood and give him a vote. It's also because I dig Andrew Lloyd Webber. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. I don't know. Why do you want to know? J-boy. So I'm curious if anybody read today's page and did their best to try to hip hop the pronunciation of the lingo that I laid down. Huh? Was it too much cool for people? Was it showing just how cool and a wiggita whack it that I am? I didn't mean to give it all away. It's just, natural. That's a nice hat. I like that hat. Corbin, I can see less and less of what I'm doing. Okay, he's going to go.
See you later, everybody. I got to do my thing.
Okay, off you go, pal. Now that it's just us. Boy, oh boy. Relationships, am I right? Chris is laying down 6 ciphers. Word up, Joshua Kimball. Word up, my hip-hop brother. Don't be frontin', yo. You best be in receipt of my hip-hop joint. Hey, it's Philip Chandler the Handler. Hey. So this is the king of bobs. The little bobs around the world is the suggestion from Frankly. And so this is our Bobcat King, I guess. King of Bob. Joshua Kimball, is it your birthday? Happy birthday, Joshua Kimball. Should we sing? Should we sing for him? Let's see if I can get Corbin back in the room. We'll give him a little bit of sing-song. All right. Oh, I'm not going to sing quite yet because I must respect myself before I wreck myself. Jim says, you are hotter than the skin of a bongo, as all the hip-hop kids are saying these days. Yes, I request a birthday rap. All right, my name is Chris, and I'd like to say that I like rapping every day. Word up! Boy, oh boy, this is probably going to get memed. I feel you. All right. So I'm just, because today's objective is really just to lay down some imagery and just to let the page free flow. Well, I generally do that anyways, but there's a liberation sometimes if you've got to have everything laid out, if you have to have everything on some days according to some large grand design that you need to put together. It can take it away from it. It can take the juice away from it. Josh says, yes, I'm going to drink Bacardi like it's my birthday. Hey, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Just do your thing. I'm curious if you went into work on your birthday, because a great deal of people just take their birthdays off.
It's my special day. I'm not going to do what other people tell me.
My birthday last year, I had a really special day. My wife took me to a local town that's nearby here, really lovely town, and we did Christmas shopping. Joshua Kimball is at work, and Philip says, treat yourself.
Happy birthday, Jay boy.
Yep, I hope that every now and then, when somebody says something to you, you somehow fit that it's your birthday into your response. Very important. It's very important. Hey, Josh, do you think you could get this done? Well, I think I can. I'm going to do my best, seeing as it's my birthday. But yeah, I'll try to do that. Think about it. Think about it. Could be the reality's changing. What's he doing over there? What's all that noise? Just stamping around. Yeah, I hope you have a good birthday, Josh. How old are you now? Well, you don't have to tell me that. You don't have to tell people that. Chris says, my birthday was exactly a month ago. Awesome. Awesome. Happy birthday, Chris. Happy birthday. Better. It looks so much better now. Flicky flick 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 flick. Look at that, huh? Do I have any paper towel here that I can use? I don't see it. All right, that's all right. Just cleaning up my stamp for a second. Never leave your stamp to sit and dry. Never leave your stamp to sit and dry, kids. Joshua says, oh, hi, Jane. How are you? Joshua's birthday, Joshua Kimball, the birthday boy, says that he's old today. Chris got art material and some coloring books. Still unopened one, The Dragon and Unicorn. I'm going to have to color in that one soon. Oh, yeah. That's my wife got me this super awesome studio model to build. And I love this thing, and I really want to do it. But I'm, I got to sit down and do it. Is the big challenge of the challenge of the moment. So, all right. So I did some stamping here, and then I flicked some of the stamp ink off of the stamp in order to add a little bit more texture to it. And now I'm coming in and pulling out some of these lines that I put down initially, just because building up the surface and then pushing the surface back by flicking all kinds of junk on it is fun. It's fun in the sun. I find that flip-flopping in your process and putting down and taking off and putting down and covering up, you'll explore things and discover things along the way that you might not have considered otherwise. So I kind of like doing that a lot. If you haven't noticed that, but like I said earlier, it's kind of about discovering things along the way, right? Like where I initially had the bottom lip, I've clearly altered this up a little bit and just played with some of the shapes in the face. Like you gotta have fun, but don't be worried about like preciousness with the image. Just play with it, put it down, take it away, right? What do we got? Jeff Chandler the Handler says, "You're not old, just chronologically challenged." Sorry, I was trying to hold this up for the camera and I'm not even remotely close to it. There's where we are now with the image. Initially, the drawing went down and I stamped over it and flicked spattered ink on it. So we're going to start pulling stuff back out again. Jim's birthday was 3 years ago. Oh my gosh. Other people have a birthday every year, Jim. I don't know if you knew that or not. Extra presents. I had a friend that I remember when he turned 11, and we were in our 40s at the time. He's like, "I'm turning 11, man." I'm like, what? Took me a minute to realize he was born in a leap year, and so while he was turning 44, it was actually the 11th birthday that he technically got to celebrate on the day, right? I think that was so cool. I should get 4 times the presents. I'm just saying. You'd have a different, and when you think about it, if you're born on a leap year, you would have a different aesthetic about birthdays and about the preciousness of them, because you yourself, the birth date doesn't appear until every 4 years. So it's kind of cool. I think that's just kind of a bit of all right. Okay, so I got some announcements today. Next week is when Lori and I are going to go to Toronto. So she's got a conference there. I've got a couple of things to do while I'm there, but I'm also going to do a stream, all things going well, from my hotel room at one point, because her conference, I'll be able to do that around the same time because she'll be in the conference at that point in the day. But I'm also going to do a couple of fun little adventures in Toronto. So, but yeah, we'll be down there. Next week. I'm excited. Okay. Got some white ink I'm going to start throwing down in here as well. Yeah, I think that birthdays are fun, Josh, so I hope you have a good one. Even if you're not really a birthday celebrator or whatever, it's just this sort of novelty. Well, it's my birthday. Like, whether it gets too engaged in your world or not, it's just, hey, today is a day. It's smudging the stamp ink. This white ink I'm putting over top. It's all right. We'll get there. Now that Josh is a year older, maybe he'll finally release his secret album of coal mining songs. Nice. Well, his big hit was covered by the Cowboy Junkies. Gotta enhance those ears, eh? Don't wanna have those get lost in the background. Corbin agrees. Yeah. So this page, the little bobs around the world, is kind of I'm going to be just drawing this with less consideration towards panels and more of just an ongoing narrative that just sort of collapses into each panel. Chris Cloy says, I reflect on the experience gained. I'll never release these coal mining songs. Not everyone is blessed to live long. No, that is exactly true. No, that's exactly true. And then some people live ridiculously long. I haven't thought too much about mortality. On one side of my parents, people lived to be a really, on my own mortality, I mean, on one side of my family, people live to be really old ages. And on the other side of my genetic donators, they do not. They do the opposite of. And so I'm just enjoying day to day. So I always get a kick out of, and everybody probably has that friend that their birthday is a monumental event in their life, and they're gonna, it's my birthday, and they're gonna blame every ridiculous action that they take on that day because it's their birthday. A Wu-Tang style Action 1 copy. I want a secret to keeping that big, dark, magical hair. Josh? Wasn't the album called Funky Coal Medina? The secret is coal. On a brighter note, let's discuss us leaving this mortal coil. There's a funny thing about the comedian Norm Macdonald, that he would always somehow make mortality sound nice. Like he would not, I'm not trying to diminish anybody's anything, but he would always make mortality and suffrage and existence itself and he would explain it in really depressing terms, but he would always do it like, I think that life's an interesting series of events. You try to find happiness while you're going through the malaise of society, and before you shuffle off from this mortal coil. Like, he'd say it like that, and I always thought that was really such an interesting perspective on it. And he's one of those comedians that we always realize how important, how funny people are a little too late. He should have been far more successful than he was. The only comic I've ever heard who did a 15-minute bit on the last-minute short-sightedness of serial killers. Which sounds terrible and ridiculous. But, he's just saying it's the most foolish part of those fellas. Well, that, and apart from the homicidal murder and the urge to commit horrible acts, see, that's a Norm Macdonald style joke. All right, so as I'm putting down some of the white ink on the surface and pulling some of those light values back out again, what I'm doing is I'm going about with different, because I'm using ballpoint pen in certain areas, pencil fountain pen, and I've got a black fine point marker I'm going to be bringing in as well. Hopefully it's going to let me get different marks and different textures here in the overall image. So, like it's going to really showcase the differences between, because there's benefits to each one of those tools, right? So I'm just trying to explore that and have fun with that. And it gets tricky sometimes because you're still trying to find those lines that you put in initially. And as soon as you start doing something like the stamping or the spackling of the surface, it starts to challenge where you have those lines allocated on the image. So because you can't find them, they're all covered up with stuff. So who knows? Maybe it takes a little bit different direction because of that fact. This is the king of bobs. I'm not sure. See, sometimes when I get suggestions, I'm not really sure what the thought behind the suggestion was, especially in the case of something like, little bobs around the world. And there was a conversation here on the stream, and Frank heard somebody say that, or just the notion of that popped into his head. And so he suggested it as a one-page idea. I write it down, and there we go. Well, as soon as we get a moment, we'll do it. But it's if it's either because it's out of context now because X amount of time is gone, or if it's just because it's kind of an open-ended statement, then whatever the initial intent was, or whatever the initial thought was, it was going through the head of the person that suggested it, or even going through my own head if I was in a place where I was privy to a conversation that brought up the idea. It doesn't mean that carries over. It doesn't mean at all that I'm going to remember it. So I find that a lot of times when it's a suggestion like little bobs around the world, well, it's kind of it's kind of a carte blanche thing. It's kind of like do whatever you're going to do because it's probably not going to relate or pertain at all to the initial idea. The secret is chia pets. That's the secret of Josh's hair staying as black as it is. It's not coal, Jim. It's chia pets. Plant matter. That's what his hair is. Fertilizer. Ugh. Decisions. Yeah, let's give me that. You go over there. Corbin is wandering around the house now, meowing upstairs. I always make sure to feed them before I start a stream, just because. And just for whatever reason, whenever that cat goes upstairs to eat his food, I'm eating my food now. I'm in the kitchen. Like, I don't know what's going through his head, but it's almost like he has to tell everybody what he's doing at any given moment because he just makes noise. What are you beeping about? Nothing. All right. Yeah. Exciting times. I got some exciting opportunities and exciting things that I plan on doing when I'm in Toronto. And, if anybody has any ideas of what one should do when given a couple of hours in the big city, let me know. I'm open. What I'm not good at is, you're going to Toronto and, people in Toronto, go visit them. And I'm like, especially if it's people that you see outside of Toronto. But I'm never really good about getting from A to B in a place that I don't normally go with any kind of Is that going to let me do that? No, it's not at all. No, it's just waste. I'm not really good at ever bumping in. I'll go and see so-and-so in such and such a place. Oh, Lord. I'm clearly not good with traveling. So I'm just flicking some of this white ink at it now. The thing I like about this heavy cardstock that I use for these pages that I draw on is that they can really take some abuse. They can really take some surface development. So it's kind of nice, especially when you want to try different things out. What are you? Chili Roll 10. So here's a terrible thing that happened to me recently. Joshua Kimball says it's exciting times and exciting rhymes. I don't know if he said it like that, but that's how I said it for him. I have a Jelly Roll pen that I've been using for months that has a happy face at the end of it, the happy face eraser. And I left it at the Jam this month. Or somebody took it. It's more appropriately to say when people pack up their stuff, different things get thrown into different people's kids. So somebody got my happy face Jelly Roll. Let's look for something else. What was it? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. So now I gotta get my happy face eraser or get a new one. So I liked having a happy face eraser on there. My pen. I don't know if people try to go to jams that watch the stream here or not. If there is one nearby you and you do feel so inspired, I check them out. Jams are a lot of fun. It really it's nice to sort of go and spend a moment with other people that do the similar thing to you, and to do some drawing with them, to do some working out with them on some ideas that they might have on a jam page that you wouldn't have considered. So, all right. Let's see if I'm going to have to darken up those eyes. Oh, I forgot to. No, let's get into his hat. Let's go to fix up his magic hat.
It's not a magic hat, Chris. It's a crown.
Can't call somebody a monarchist if they make fun of royalty because the word's already taken. Which leaves nothing to be called because of that. So you're in the clear. Fully free to talk about Charles's ears. Jim says, all the sports events and political gatherings are canceled tonight because Gary Hodges is on Artcasters. Yes, he is. Gonna have to have a nap for that. Isn't that what Paul usually says? We're gonna have to have a nap so I can see that. A poet and didn't know it. There you go. Birthday poet, Joshua Kimball. He's going to do some readings tonight on the Artscasters, some poetry readings. He's going to read Alphasar Knutskin's The Ode to a Lump of Green Jelly I Found Under My Armpit One Morning. It's a great poem. But you can only read that if it's your birthday. I like really, really interfering with the surface with stamps and whatever else. I really do. It just sort of, it really makes you chase after lines. You can't fall back on, here's the drawing, here's the inking. And in the case of when you do stuff like that, it makes you just dive deep. dive deep into how are you going to pull an image out of this mess. It's kind of like jazz. It's kind of like abstraction. It's, I guess. There's a painter that I really liked when I was a teenager. Anselm Kiefer. And he would do these abstract works. And some of them just, like they just sort of hit you. Like you look at it and go, I don't know what it is, but there's something in that speaks to me on a deeper level. Like, I don't know if it's like, he's got one piece with a shepherd's cane and a pyramid, and it's all really big and really, built up layer and surface. And just for some reason, that really captured something in my mind's eye about how there's so much noise and texture in that surface. And then he pulled representation out of it. And I think that might be the inspiration point for me leaning towards mixed media as opposed to trying to do traditional representation. I talked to somebody about this last night about, one of those, hey, where'd you go wrong conversations. Nothing better than an interview where someone says, what makes you do things the way you do? You're not sure if that's a compliment or not. Did Paul sue you? Is that why there's no more Paulies? Friggin' lawyers. No, just haven't done any Paulies. I had to reboot my computer because of whatever. I can't, tell you what it was still to this day, but I had to reboot my computer, and so all the stuff that I had preloaded on my OBS program that I use to manage cameras and microphones and all that so that I can do streams. All the preset stuff was gone. And so I sat down and I made sure to reconnect the cameras and the microphone and the disco soundtrack and the flowers and the bumblebees. And so I never really got to reload all of the extra stuff on it. I got some things on there still, like the sponsors and Fun in the Sun like that. I just haven't got back to the Pollies and the Hey Nows. The Hey Nows are the ones where it's me going from behind a newspaper. It's actually not a newspaper. It's one of our books. One of the books that we publish. So, hey now, get out of there. Which pen am I using? Would people like to see a return of the Pollies? Is it people feel left out because they didn't get one at the time? Paul thought it was funny. That's a blessing because I never want to offend the guy. Yep. Yep. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, I was listening to Danger Doom earlier today. Just the last song came on just a few minutes ago, but I'm not a rap guy. Never really been a rap guy. But there are some performers and some songs that I hear and I go, yeah, that's fun. And the reason I like the Danger Doom guy, and if you get a chance, check out his albums, see who I'm referring to. But the reason that I like that guy is because he has all these additional voices of Brack and a lot of the Adult Swim characters that I remember from when I was growing up. Yes. Look, just sit down. Corbin's just letting us all know he's back. I don't know what he was doing, but it was probably depraved. Yeah, it was cool. Paul was on the Artcasters recently. That was cool. Jim and Gary have both been on the Artcasters of late, talking about, they were guest hosting the one episode. It was nice to, I really enjoyed being on there myself recently, and a bunch of good guys. But if people get a chance or are interested in talking about art and different creative directions that people are taking, check out the Artcasters tonight on I don't know whose channel. Brought to you by the letter P and the number 17. That's a hat. Now that's a hat. When you go into a hat store, haberdashery, and say, I'm looking for a hat. This is what you're looking for. This is the one. This is what all the kids want. So there's the King of the Bobs. There's how we've started our first panel is with the King of the Bobs. Let me pull that right up there. So there's all kinds of little bits and pieces of information we're sticking in there now. Some crosshatch work and some a little bit. Well, the sort of spattering works like a stippling, I guess, and then there's some positive, negative lines we're putting down. So it's kind of all these little fiddly bits that really sort of give a little bit of depth and texture to something that I find I'm not as capable to do if I'm doing traditional inking. I do like when other people when they're doing inking, is that they'll pull out these real solid examples of inking strategies out of their toolbox. I really do appreciate that. I just don't seem to have a facility to do it. I'm kind of a little bit more haphazard about it. So I'm just throwing down an edge on the paper. Straight lines. There we go. Let me put a little frame of reference on that. And then this way we can go in here and add a little more meat potatoes. A little more meat potatoes this year, first panel. Meat and potatoes. Sometimes I'm finding of late that there's certain things that I've learned how to do in Photoshop that can bring a different finish onto some images. The trick I don't want to get into is that I don't want to get into relying on having to do some of those finishes with one tool, and that, the tool in this case being Photoshop. So it's always important to sort of go back to and still make your marks in a traditional format or whatever format you're used to working on, as opposed, and even if it is just drawing digitally, drawing in Photoshop or whatever else, or Illustrator, or whatever program, I don't care what program, but you still got to make sure that you step back into fundamentals. And if you've been doing something a certain way for a certain while, go back and come at it from a different direction, or go back and come at it from a different tool base, or consider the way that you're telling your tales, or the way that you're creating your pages, and undo that pattern. And I think that that's a healthy way. This doesn't work if you're doing a long form piece, right? Your long form piece tends to have to stay rooted in some sort of basic structural rules. But when it comes to doing smaller things, try to go a little different direction with each one and see what that gives you. Jim says it's hotter than the skin of a bongo. One of my favorite references like that is from The Big Lebowski. It's
It was darker than the black steers took us on a starless prairie night. It's dark. It's a dark reference. Automatic cheating line. Woo woo woo. Thank you, clipboard. You're welcome, Chris. This is one of those pages that when you're done, you need to fix it. You need to go in and make sure that you seal that up, because you've got so many different things in correlation with one another that sometimes you got to make sure that they stay together and seal that page up so that parts of it don't get smudged, or parts of it don't, if anything happens or it gets wet or whatever, the whole thing's gone, you know. But this is on paper in the first place, so chances are if this gets wet, it's gone. See, this is, I'm going to do a little white over top of here, but when I would scan this, I would take this out, any smudge lines around the frame of reference, the interior frame of reference. So, because you know, it's very important, that sort of stuff. So getting the stencil. Janet would be so proud of me. Okay, so the circular motif that's in the stamps, I'm going to continue that a little bit and carry that around in the image. So with, you know, not specifically as the stamps, but just additional lines and marks. And is nothing sacred? Is nothing sacred, Christopher? Are you working in traditional mark making tools? Are you ink or paint or whatever else you're doing? Or what are you going to do now? Watercolor paint? Yes. Is nothing sacred, sir? No. But you can get fun little marks and fun little directions when you're throwing all that stuff into the same ring there. I kind of like how the stamp, when it works around the monkey's head, it sort of like extends that crown out. So, oh, that's nice. Thanks, Jim. Jim says it looks great. He said that a few minutes ago, so I might have screwed it up since then. Jim, I made a vlog about politics and comics and missed the opportunity to call it politics. This hedonist mixing his media. Happy birthday, Josh. Call the Inquisition. No one expected a Spanish Inquisition. No regrets. No regrets. No regrets, everybody. Just be who you is. So it's a silly image, but so the watercolor that I'm putting in there, again, it just adds another sort of. I guess I'm looking at it in the sense that these textures sometimes, when you go the watercolor into certain areas and spattering in certain areas and cross hatching in certain areas, it's just, well, it can be overly complex, sure, and I don't want to do that, but at the same time, it can just keep some interesting things for the reader's eye to move around with. Joshua, since it's your birthday, if you could have Christopher say one word only for you, what would it be? He's really thinking hard on what this word could be. He's really he's putting some serious stock into it. I don't know if I can just have him say one word. Toothpaste. Oh, let's see. So I've got most of the medium, or most of the watercolor is at the end of the brush. So as I bring it down on the side of the brush, it sort of does a natural gradation there. That's fun. Josh was, oh, no regrets, no yogurts for Corey. It's bigger than no yogurts. I'm loving this drawing. Thanks, Josh. Put that word in caps, Josh. Jim is desperate for you to come up with a word for me to say. Desperate. You can hear it. Please do it, Josh. Come on, Josh. No effing and a jaffing. All right. So I've got some of these elements here that are built up, and I want to continue with some of this decorative motif, but at the same time, I want to put in some marks that are going to continue to direct the eye around. The reason that I did the page today that revisited the whole moving the eye up with word balloons, and I reapproached that motif today, is because I'm trying to explore ideas in language, visual language, textual language, yes, but in the compositional language, in order to try to find methods and considerations that I might not have otherwise had. Rural. That's a rough one. Whoa. I believe the word that Josh wants me to say today is whoa. Whoa is a place that people that don't live in the cities usually call their homes. Whoa. You're welcome, Josh. Happy birthday. A little bubble wawa for you there, huh? So my idea is in the foreground here. So little bobs around the world being the suggestion for today's page. I had thought about having a whole bunch of these sort of little bulbousy guys that are all running towards the viewer, just charging through the composition. Just guys, just to keep it interesting. Hello, well, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the magic, Mr. Gary Hodges. Gary, your books are almost here. I looked at the thing, and they've made it into Canada. They made it through the border. They weren't stopped from. The Prime Minister didn't personally inspect the package and stop it and send it back to the States on me. I don't put it past him. So I'm drawing a lot of these little shapes, these little forms that are going to be all these different characters run into us. So I like to overlap them, just so that again, if you can have characters crossing the lines, the form of other characters, it really just sort of adds a little more complexity. And a little bit of complexity is always good to have. Gary, if anybody that's here hasn't taken a look at it yet, please take a look at Gary Hodges' Instagram and Linktree and all the other stuff, and his YouTube as well. Gary has just released his third book. Gary was on the stream a couple of days ago with me. We talked about his process and his work, and I there was one question that I didn't ask, and part of me kind of wanted. We sort of talked on it, but I realized after the fact that I didn't say, "So Gary, what's next?" And that's the thing you're supposed to say to people. And I didn't do it. I blew it. There's a lot to go into making a book, and there's quite a bit over 100 pages on this project now, so it's very exciting. It's very good. Making another post office trip, dropping off orders tomorrow. Still time to get your order in for that batch. Ooh, subtle. I like it. Very subtle. The people at the post office know who he is. He goes and visits them every day. When he comes in, they'll go, Gary, like that. And he says, oh, is this what we're doing now? Is this what we're doing? So so these little big-headed guys and their little forms, I'm layering them up in such a way as to suggest that there's far more of them, and that they're there's smaller and more distant characters running around in each of the background pockets, so if you have some people in the foreground like this, and you have some people that are moving forward like this, and so on and so forth, that you still can put smaller receding characters. Gary says his new catchphrase is setting the world on fire. And that catchphrase is, oh, is that what this is? Is that what we're doing now? And that, for those that need to know this, is a line that Gary says as a character featured in the film The Full Fungus by Mr. Jim Lujan. And then he's doing those streams on every couple of weeks. Also, 4 watchers, only 2 likes. Make that math correct, viewers. Oh my, thank you, Gary. Yeah, I gotta admit, I don't pay attention to that, and I don't do that whole hit the bell and subscribe. And I've been noticing it since that came to mind. I've been noticing it more and more that other people do that. And it's kind of like, it's very good. It's a good idea to say that, of course, because people may not feel so inclined unless encouraged to do so. But you don't notice something like that. That doesn't really become present of mind until you finally see it. You finally notice it, and you're like, oh, everybody does that. Maybe I should do that too. And then you don't remember to do it. That's how I work. Is that I'll forget to do it too. Hey, everybody, it's Rachel. Hey, Rachel. Rachel's been doing an alphabetery of late, and it's looking really good. She's got cool pages, and I think it's an interesting series of pages. And I'm Rachel, can people see those? Are you posting those on any social media anywhere? Because I'm not. I'm sorry if anybody is posting things. If there's something you want me to see, put my hashtag me or whatever it is, and I'll come and see it. Just because I find more and more that the algorithm stops showing you the people that you know and that you like. And the algorithm seems to be all these things that it's suggesting for you to look at. And I don't want to look at those things. I want to look at the people that I know. But that's not what it's telling me to go look at. It's feeding all kinds of other stuff. And by the time I get all of that junk out of the way and get over to going to see the people whose work I want to, I tend not to spend that much time on the thing. I get frustrated really quickly with having to search through TikToks. All right, so I'm trying to push back some of these little spot marks that are in the background of these guys. I might have to enhance that in Photoshop or to really make this a nice solid white back here. But we'll see what we can do. We'll try to see what we can do here. Rachel says, Chris says hi. Great stream yesterday, Josh. Very interesting. Yeah, And Josh has some good streams, folks. If you get a chance, go and see the birthday boy, Joshua Kemball's streams. Just try again today. She had a trouble with Instagram today. Yeah, that Instagram is trouble, all right. It knows what it's up to. What's that? All right, so what I want to get an effect of here is an illumination off of these guys in the foreground as they're running, so that what I'm going to do is that I'm going to put some marks in here with the pencil. Because I really want to give this kind of glowing thing as they're all running out from under the king's beard. And so this is page is I really want to take a step away from the formats that I've been using for telling stories, and to take a chance with today's page to really push the narrative in a different way, so that this is going to be an overlapping image that the text is going to follow through as parts of the image lead into other parts with them all connected, less panel division. Let's see if that works at all. It usually works, but I kind of come in here. Do your job, Eraser. Well, and I'll try to beef that up a little bit in a second. For some reason, I've been using the stump to draw with lately, and then defining my edges seems to be working for me. Do you mean a blending pencil stump? Is that what you mean? Because yeah, those work great. It's a good idea. That's a good point. I should pull one of those suckers out. Start taking advantage of that tool. Oh, I gotta start putting some details on these characters in a second here. These are all the bobs. These are all the little bobs. It's hard being a bob, but I'll get used to it. That's a lyric from No Means No. The day everything became nothing, I was standing under a streetlight wishing I had a cigarette. Got some of the colored and black paper yesterday. You have stretched my horizons. Did you go pick some of that up at Walmart? It's a great cardstock that Walmart carries. It really is. And if it's something that you haven't ventured too far into, give them a try. It's an expensive way to go about it, that's for sure. But yeah, I hope you have some fun with those. That pattern paper was great, but their general range of colors for their papers are pretty nice. They've got a good blend. I've got a couple that are more featured into a chromatic value. Like I like the opportunity to chase down different things and to try to utilize those in the picture making. So when you can find something like the paper that I used yesterday and figure out a way to use it so as that it's yours, awesome. I think I'm going to have to come in with the white paint marker in order to pull out some real whites here. $17, $6.97 for the pad of 50 black, 50 natural colored. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, that works. That's not too bad. That's $17 Canadian. So for any Americans that might be watching the stream, that's a nickel. Likely 5 and 2 in the USA.
Nope, I'll have it for a nickel.
Oh, very white. Yeah, that's good fun in the sun. Yeah, because this isn't smudging like the white brushed on ink does. So that's kind of nice. Once we get a clean line. And I like that. I like it. Mm-hmm. Yep, I like it a lot. This is fun with the way that the one stamp that I used that I stuck down here. It kind of, I like that sort of halo effect around that ear. That's neat. I like stuff like that. A little bit into these jewels or whatnot. There's artists that are fun to check out that might be outside of people's headspace. Like, I don't know if you've ever had an opportunity to watch any of the documentaries that they've made on Drew Struzan, the guy that did a lot of those motion picture posters. But some of the processes of how he works with the combination of airbrushing and pencil crayon and his images, or if you get a chance for something like that, try Tommy Lee Edwards. There's another wonderful artist. And again, he's also a guy who's done a fair amount of motion pictures. But Tommy Lee Edwards has done some absolutely wonderful comic work as well over the years. He did a version of The Question, 1950s or 60s creation of Steve Ditko at Carlton, which eventually goes over to DC from sale. But his version of The Question, he always has this sort of subversive layer underneath reality. But when Tommy Lee Edwards did it, it actually has this sort of visual shift to a different approach of telling an image. Look it up online. There's all kinds of really cool stuff about those guys. Joshua found it very satisfying that you're working on your son's project while streaming. Rad. Yeah, it was a fun little thing he's working on. That's awesome. I haven't had a chance to see your last stream. I think you were doing mailings or packaging while Scott was doing his thing. Nope. That was for Gary. That question's for Gary. She thinks that you were doing mailings or packaging while Scott was there visiting. Yeah. Hope you show it online. Is that what Josh and his son were doing? You hope they show it online? So yeah, try Tommy Lee Edwards, try Drew Struzan, because they're both pretty keen for different applications. Pretty keen as jelly beans. All right, so now we got all these little guys running. What do they look like? That's $1 million question. Let's have them all look like the king. Why not? The question was the main inspiration for Rorschach. Here's a fun story. I don't know if people know this, and if they do know it, then this is a boring story. So, Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons are hired by DC Comics, and Alan writes his treatment. DC has bought all the Carlton characters, and that's Judo Master, The Question, Captain Atom, Nightshade, Peacemaker. I'm trying to think of who else might be in that group. Oh, Blue Beetle. And, a number of them. Okay. So So what happens is, nice to know the world goes on around us, even while art and discussions are happening. Yeah, there we go. That's what I read. Yes. Well, I'll get to the question today. Okay, so Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons put together the story, but what it is a 12-issue finite series. Comic series used to have actual starting and ending points for a lot of limited series, and the numbers didn't adjust as they commonly do today for a lot of these releases that the larger companies put out, because they're so concerned about making money. They'll can a thing before it gets to its conclusion all the time. And then they'll put heavily bank on books that no one cares about. Like there have been 7 series of Captain Marvel, the female one from the films, and they don't sell, but they just keep pushing them and restarting it as a new one, restarting it as a new number one, and they don't sell. They just don't sell. The only sales that come from those things is from the incentive numbers that they offer stores to carry them for the first few issues, and then they drop off, cancel it, and do it again. But that book is yet to go past 30, 40 issues. So anyhow, Watchmen, 12-issue finite series. He hands in the whole script to it. And if you know the Watchmen, without spoiling it for you, there are finite endings to characters in that series and in their story. So but the problem is that DC has just bought all of these characters to incorporate them into the larger DC universe so that Blue Beetle can team up with Superman. Okay? The problem is that because of how Alan Moore's script has gone, you can't, you kill some of these people. That doesn't help us at all. Oh, Thunderbolt. Peter Cannon Thunderbolt becomes Ozymandias. Anyway, so he reworks it. And the way that they rework it is that he makes daguerreotypes of everybody. So Captain Atom, the silver guy with the red starfield on his chest, it's actually supposed to be a nuclear symbol that's overlapped. But he becomes Dr. Manhattan, the giant blue guy in the Watchmen. Peacemaker becomes the comedian. Blue Beetle becomes the Night Owl 2. The original Blue Beetle, who is the cop, is the Night Owl 1 that's actually in the store in the trade too. Nightshade becomes the Silk Spectre. The Question becomes Rorschach. And that examination, by the way, that's what the Question actually is phenomenal to me. I love that that's the perspective on the Question, is that he's an absolute objectivist and no compromising guy, and he's pocketed all of those aspects of the creator, Steve Ditko, into the character, which is so cool. But all of those characters, they had, different reality versions of every single one of them made so that the Watchmen could stay as the genius script that the Watchmen was, and that they could do it the way that they had it all laid out without compromising their story, which then led DC to hire new artists and writers to incorporate the Carlton characters into the DC universe. And it's the most ridiculous thing. Like, here, guy, write us a 12-issue limited series where we bring these characters into our universe. And he writes what he writes, which doesn't do it at all. It's just a really cool series of those characters. So, you gotta love Alan Moore. Alan Moore, a real character. If you get a chance to listen to an Alan Moore interview, he's got a fun accent. He's from Northampton, and he's my size, and he has a really baritone voice. So when he's talking, well, I'm talking about comics, and his voice is so deep, and yeah, he's a real character and a half. Okay, so I'm drawing everybody as these little bald-headed, snub nose, big yappered guys like they're king. Their tongues hanging out as they're running around, doing their thing. Why? Just for fun. What are we at? An hour 25. Okay, question of the day. Yeah, that's so take a look into that. Look into Alan Moore also did a script called Twilight of the Gods that DC has been plumbing from for decades. And the script is in the future, all the superhero groups have broke out into houses. So there's the House of L, which is all the Superman type characters, the House of Lightning, which is all the Shazam type characters. There's the House of the Bat, which is all the, Batman world characters. And there's sort of niche pockets of these characters throughout North America, and those sections of America are maintained by these houses. And so there's a conflict amongst the houses. And Captain Marvel Jr. is set to marry Superman and Wonder Woman's daughter. And so it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Okay, let me catch up. Question of the day, number 337. Do you find yourself more artistically influenced by classic artists or comic pop artists? It's a good question, folks. That's a good question. All right. Are we all set? Let's see. Gary says, answering Jim's question today, I think my biggest influences are a mix of cinema and gold or silver age comics. Oh, that's cool. Rachel says, hard one to answer. I'm more influenced by my kindergarten teacher who said, just put your crayons on paper and move them. This end of the stick makes marks on the paper. This one doesn't do anything. This one gets you gold. Yeah. Gary says, particularly EC pulp type characters. Gary says, Rachel, I think I had the same teacher. Chris is laughing. Good question. Next. Joshua Campbell says, my biggest influence is peer pressure. Peer pressure, Joshua, is something that can take you in a whole new direction. Frankly, what do you find more influence from? And welcome aboard, Frankly, by the way. What do you find influence from, Frankly? Do you find yourself more artistically influenced by classic artists or comic pop artists? And then Philip, if you're still here, or anybody else that's here, anybody that's lurking and not talking, you're more than welcome to spit out some of that hot jibber jabber. Joshua says, my biggest influence is peer pressure, and Rachel says, I get that. Frank's inspiration is his love life. Mm-hmm. Is that good or bad? Don't answer that. All right. Fun in the sun. That's a fun question. I really like that. I don't know if I can. Am I more influenced by comics or classic? Am I more influenced by classical artists or comic pop artists? I don't know. I think that I definitely have artsy fartsy background, but I think that I do. I probably, in at least equal measure, study contemporary, some contemporary storytellers as well. Chris says, I have no idea how to answer. I can say I like classic artists. Yeah. Yeah, I completely get that. That's like there's a painting on the wall over here beside me where it's because I'm reading a book on Caravaggio at the time, and I'm like, I'm going to try some of that chiaroscuro jazz. But as far as it goes for which one is more pervasive for me, if I look at all the books in my library, I have a whole bunch of making of art books that takes up one shelf, but I have an additional shelf that's all storybooks. So I got to probably lean into contemporary. Josh, are you sure your biggest influence is peer pressure? Don't you think you want to change that answer, huh? I find that spite really influences me to show them I can do something. Maybe not the best reason. Josh has been influenced to change his answer to both. Wrong. I disagree with you, Josh, entirely. I disagree. Change your answer. Don't agree with anyone. Rachel says, I'm just learning about comic and sequential art and I'm fascinated, but tend to lean to classic. I learned it by watching you, Jim. Good answer. Wrong. I disagree. I got to think about what outfits I'm going to put on these guys. My favorite expression in any conversation is agree to disagree. No. We're going to settle this. That's the best personalities when they meet up. The agree to disagree person and the person that, no, they want a final resolution. Yeah, there's so much out there. There's so many contemporary artists that we can all learn from. And I think that there's a thing in contemporary art that a lot of people cross from different media to media to media. And so you'll see oftentimes Phil Kennedy has worked a lot in film, and he's a wonderful illustrator. There's a great deal of storyboard artists that are also sequential artists. There's a great deal of former Disney artists that are now doing large fine art works of more representational images, like what's his name, Aaron. He does one of the main designers of the Lion King. Anyhow, there's a lot of, I think that with a lot of contemporary art, there's a lot of crossover these days. So, which is great, breaking of the molds. It's something that always happened before, right? I mean, you've Michelangelo painting walls, frescoes, and doing sculptures simultaneously. You got Leonardo designing defenses for the city he lives in, as well as his sculpture and painting work. It's just, yeah. Aaron Blaise, thank you, Chris. Yeah, Aaron Blaise is a phenomenal talent, but his representational work is lovely. His animated work is lovely as well, but his representational work is something else. He draws in Sharpies on large sheets of manila paper and craft paper that is, 3 feet by 5 feet, so on. How did that boy band function? Vivo play this? No, Vivo play this? No, Vivo play that today. No, let's play. I like the idea of a German Bauhausian boy band. That's a fun notion. All of you girls will love us now as we sing our songs. If you do get the chance to look at classic work, it will open up your imagery that you do for, contemporary media. If you can start to understand how the shadow and light is represented so much differently than how you're told to structure it. In the comic educating world, like schools like the Kubert School, it's going to teach you vastly differently about how light works than you would come to understand it from classic interpretations over time. But Josh names that band Das Boy Band. Welcome to the show for Das Boy Band. You will all sit quietly until it is your turn to clap. Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be a great concert. All right, so I'm going to put down some meat and potatoes on these fellas, and then away we go. Giving him a bit of a panicked expression here. Trying desperately not to stick my tongue out of my mouth as I'm drawing a character with his tongue sticking out of his mouth. Chris says, I'm reading the books by James Gurney. Oh, wonderful. There's another artist for people to take a look at, is James Gurney. I didn't study the brushstrokes of Van Gogh to know that capes are red. Okay. Now that I'm at work wondering why agree to disagree works, but disagree to agree does not. That's fantastic. Wrong. Ask somebody in the office. Ask someone in the office that. And they'd be like, Gary, you've been spending too much time at home. You need to come in the office more often. We got to keep an eye on him. He's having them weird thoughts that the isolated folks get. Power Crowd, a German boy band. How about, I'm trying to think of some German here. The Powerkinder. I guess Powerkinder would be a good one. That's strong kids. Strong boys. All the Germans get their right in. Chris, your German is terrible. I know. I did my best. Braunschweig. Oh, that's too good. All right, so I'm putting in all of our guys as they're running along and coming at you. It's an action scene, folks. Little Bobs around the world. We'll give them all short pants. You know, for the appeal. Frank says, I'm fond of Jack Chick's work. I like small comics that I can hand out. I know somebody that collects all of the Jack Chick tracks, as they're called, for those that don't know, that he can find. He collects as many as he can find. And he has a substantial number of them. But the problem with Chick tracks that I find among Chick track collectors, say that 6 times fast, not 5, 6, they keep them in, like I find they all keep them in a box or something like that because of their weird size. There's only one person I know that puts them in tall cardstock sleeves in the binders. But every other Chick track collector that I know just has them in a box. Gary says, I'm also a Chick track fan, Jack Chick fan, because I like telling everyone they're going to HE double hockey sticks. Bioschnitzel Bande. There's I used to collect. I had a wall of shame, and we had a wall of shame at the store, and I had a wall of shame in my own studio. Wall of Shame comics are the ones where you're like, it seemed like a good idea, I'm sure, but you know, like Kingdom Comics used to put out a lot of those very Baptist Christocentric books, but a lot of times, like there are 19 different versions of the Switchblade. What is it? The Cross and the Switchblade. But there, a lot of those Kingdom books, they kind of miss the mark a little bit. They're really trying, but they miss it. Like there was one called Hansi, the girl who loved the swastika. It's like, or the Good News Blimp. Hansi's about, of course, a young lady who grew up in Germany in the 1940s. But when she comes over to America, she's adopted into a Christian community and taught to put aside her fascistic leanings and learn to have a different belief system. But it's just the girls who love the swastika. It's so 1950s. And there's another one called The Good News Blimp. And it's a blimp. And again, this is another Christocentric book. It's a blimp that flies over this small town. And it says a piece of scripture, but it also has a very positive green message on it as well. Which sounds, cool and admirable, except for that when you have pictures, oh, look at the blimp, Billy. And here's the image of the blimp floating over their house above them, and it says, Jesus died for your sins. Don't be a litter bug. It's like, so close. So close. Did an 8-week course on the Impressionist Cézanne and had to draw his apples so often I started to eat them. Why? I didn't even particularly like his apples. Excellent. The Chick tracks, right up until Jack Chick's death, they were still producing them. But many of the people that were supporters of it were pulling away because they're like, Jack, times are changing. But he still stayed on his bent. I knew a person in Toronto that was called on for doing a style of Chick track in Toronto. How do you like them apples? There you go. How do you like Cézanne's apples? That's how we should say it from now on. If you ever have a chance to see Monet's water lily paintings and the sheer scope and size of these things, everybody I know that's gone and saw those, every one of them says the same thing, is that you just want to try to jump into that painting, this painting or that painting. Now, the Good News Blimp has already been done. What, there was another version of that than the one I'm talking about? Because that book was incredible. It was this is something from it was ahead of its curve because of its green messaging, but this thing was, I don't know, 60s. I gotta rethink my next book idea. Oh, I caught up. I'm so sorry, Josh. That's brilliant. You got to rethink your next book idea because it's already been done. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to burst your bubble. Let me see what other crazy ideas I can keep you from remembering Wall of Shame books. Cézanne's shadow tones are amazing. Oh yeah, for sure. Yes, indeed. It's important. I think it's really important that people do a deeper study into art than just contemporary work. I think you'll find so many things. And even if you're just studying contemporary work, there's so much great stuff for you to take a look at. There was a good magazine for a while called Juxtapose that had a lot of the alternative culture artists in New York and Los Angeles, and this sort of subversive culture. A lot of it framed around Robert Williams, the publisher of the Juxtapose book, or magazine, sorry. There's a lot of people that are in there, and, take a look at some of the counterculture comic artists from the 60s, Spain, of course, Crumb, this weird. Hot take, Cézanne's pretty good. I've heard of him. I've heard of that guy. I've heard of him. Oh, thank goodness it's not based on them apples. There's so many great contemporary artists. I really, really do enjoy that as far as storytellers go. I got lots of stuff I can show people if they're interested, but go out, look things up, chase them down. Take a look at random things like the work of guys like Mark Ryden, or I was a big fan of the secessionists. I really, really enjoyed Egon Schiele and Gustav Klimt, and a lot of the Nouveau movement has informs you in a pretty big way about line and decorative elements that you can incorporate in work. There's a lot of opportunities for artistic personal growth by looking at more than just a narrow window of stuff. I'm a big fan of the artist Whoot, the famous Dutch impressionist, period. Whoot. I'm writing it down because I'm gullible. I don't know Whoot. Oh my God. Jim! I heard Josh is really big into Whoot work. Give it away. That might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie. Cezanne would likely approve of your rating. Lucien Freud is pretty rad. Lucien Freud, yeah, very talented painter. Very talented portraitist. I think that he wouldn't be as popular as he is if it wasn't because he's Lucien Freud. A friend of mine and I were talking once about the Wyeths and Freud, and I tend to lean towards Wyeth because they're very similar. There's a similarity in how they look at their subject matter, and I tend to prefer prefer Andrew Wyeth. So Gary says, I'm a chiaroscuro guy. You probably haven't heard of it. It's very new and niche. Jim G boys. Yeah. I'm not saying how many J's. A lot of art is politic. A lot of art is fine art world is because of how much money and who you know, and I find that disappointing, but it's just the nature of the beast. If you could stomach Peggy Guggenheim, your career went really far. Oh, yeah, took a shot at Peggy Guggenheim. All right, so hopefully that's coming across as a whole bunch of these little guys here running. We'll get a little more creative with them in a second here. Let's get some more down. This guy's got the crazy eyes. Deep cut glory. You'll start hearing more about chiaroscuro in the next few years. It's going to be big. I don't know. And you think it's really going to come out of the dark like that? Like it's just going to sort of, be like this sort of bright, revealing light that just comes out of nowhere? I don't know, Gary. It's just, I think art like that's got to build up in layers, right? Give it time. Soon it'll really glow. It'll really sort of reveal itself forth there. You know, the level of dorkiness hits another extreme when we're making chiaroscuro references. I wouldn't say that they're jokes. I think a lot of them are visually still in the dark, but I think it's important to study sculpture too. You get a chance, spend some time looking at sculptural figural work anyways. Even non-figure, like representational figure or figural work, abstract work. Whereas sculpture used to really be far more definable medium. Nowadays, with all the contemporary materials and the different facilities we have with 3D printing and the like, I think that we're going to see a lot more sculpturists that are going to be presenting more figurine-based stuff or statue-based stuff. Quick glazing, Gary. I'm going back to my RPG videos. I think Gary's an impasto. When are we going to see some live games on that channel? Joshua Kimball's a poser. Get it? Oh my God. Jeez. Oh, for goodness sakes. We have fun. We have the funs. All right, let's see if I can pull out some of this pencil work from around here, and then I think I'm going to wrap up in a couple minutes. But I'm going to do some gray work inside these guys' forms, but outside and around them, I really want to push the idea that they're running, out of the light here. So. It's all this chiaroscuro talk Gary's going on about. I'm loving the art history trash talk. Well, if we're gonna spill some trashy art talk, if we're just gonna throw down, just sort of flick it out there, and just drizzle it in whatever way that we can to sort of bring somebody down. I'm a big fan of Jackson Pollock. Bring it. Da 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 da. Some other flipping douche up. I can't read the note. What's the premise of this one-page comic idea? Little Bobs around the world. So this is the King Bob, and hold on, I'll pull this. This is King Bob here, and as he's commanding all of his little Bobs to go forth and cause chaos, my Bobs. And so what I've started with the King Bob shouting, thinking of where I can leave areas for text as I move it through into this space here is where I'm going to start to have different situations that the Bobs are going to get up to. Yeah, it's a suggestion from Frankly Mapleton. I can't. Oh yeah, sorry. What a flippin' douche up. King Bob. Yeah. So that's King Bob and all of his Bobs. It's hard being a Bob. Just thought I would draw this sort of generic, silly little guy. It's a repeated, simplistic form. But I mean, it's just simplistic for sort of this regard. I mean, you can draw different iterations of him, fat ones, thin ones, so on and so forth. Different ethnicities or whatever as I'm going throughout the page. But I really just wanted to sort of concretely start the fact that here his crazy proclamation or order goes out, and out comes all of these lunatics. So I want to cut this back. I have to come at that a couple times just to make sure it's properly covered. And then this is an area that I know I'm going to need to enhance in Photoshop, so I really get that sense of back projecting light. Just trying to make sure that all of the image that I could put down traditionally is how this piece is going to come together. Robert Vet, welcome aboard, Robert. What about Bob? Could go at any time. The kind of guy you tie to the mast of a boat if you're going to take him out and sailing with you. Just getting a few more of these guys out here, and just to really try to sell the idea of a great number of them, and have them receding back, of course. So that now that I've got that together, I think that the remaining parts of this page, so if I get the text here and here and here and move the text through the image and then follow the last little piece of it down there, so that helps to keep the viewer's eye moving along. But by putting text here draws you up and over. So trying to have fun with that, right? I love chiaroscuro, especially with cilantro and corn tortilla. Oh, yeah. Yeah, me too. That's yummy. See, I'm sorry, guys. I feel foolish here because all this talk about chiaroscuro is making me really want to watch old episodes of The Love Boat. Whereas is The Love Boat now considered racially inappropriate now for the representation of chiaroscuro? Please tell me somebody's getting this reference. Yeah, so now I get to do scenes of Bob's, just being goons in different locations and to different people. So why not, right? Why not? I love that though. Cilantro, corn tortilla, chiaroscuro. This is when you know that your whole self has changed. Is that tonight I'm looking forward to having a falafel dinner. Homemade falafel dinner, which is something that generally is something I never would have done before. Now, sure, somebody here is going to go, well, I make those all the time. I know, but it's something I grew up with your meat and potatoes, and when you're a meat and potato person in chiaroscuro, and making falafels at home for the first time seems like it's exotic. Wow, the world is much larger than we realize. It's tragic, isn't it? It's tragic. How did I get to be this old? I don't know. This is our first little bob we're putting down there. And I've got to round that head a little bit just to make it more reminiscent of the bobs. You could get somebody to sing happy birthday to you like Charo, Josh. That could work. Mostly because the other options suck. How true that is. Try my best not to stick my tongue out of my mouth while I'm drawing someone with their tongue stuck out of their mouth. The situation is real, folks. The plight is real. I have to change the direction of his eyes a little bit, but so I'm just going to throw in a whole bunch of different bobs in different contexts through the whole thing. What are we at? Well, we're at 159. yeah, I think I'm going to wrap up in a second here. This has been a lot of fun, guys. This has been a lot of fun. I'm having a good time. Josh, I'm going to DM you a private birthday message from me saying happy birthday, doing a Charo impression. So just you wait for that. You just hold on for that. It's coming. And in the vein of our Charo Squirrel Talk. I'll be back at some point this week, and I'll put an announcement up for that. I will be back on Monday and Tuesday next week for streams, and specifically in this format. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to try some different things because I'm going to be in Toronto for a conference. So if anybody has any ideas of I'm going to be going to Big Art Supply Store in Toronto, checking that out. And so we'll talk about, what kind of opportunities are presented in something like that, as opposed to a smaller city like London and the lame-o big box opportunities that we have here. And, London has a really cool independent art supply store in Bijan's. And then there's a really good one in St. Thomas called the Craft Hive. But Toronto's got some ones that you're going to find papers and you're going to find materials that you just haven't, the availability to consider. I mean, yeah, you can get them online if you know to look online, right? And when you walk into one of these stores, you'll see things that you just go, why the heck aren't I using this? Why don't I do something on that? So I'll be doing that this weekend. Now, this weekend I will, I think on Sunday, come on and do a stream, maybe Sunday evening, but or Sunday morning, one or the other. We'll see. But I'll let people know. I'll put a listing up. So if you are following the channel and you do get the notifications, it'll pop up for you like they do daily for Monday through Friday. Jim says, before you go, let's see your hands. How dirty did they get? It's a good question. Not dirty. It's all about staying to the side of where all the marks are, right? Robert says, enjoy the falafel, give Lori a love, glad you're feeling better. Thanks so much, Robert. Keep standing and enjoy the big city chaos. Oh yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. But in the meantime, I hope everybody's having fun and creating and doing as you do. And if you are working on stuff, I'd love to see it. So feel free to share that along. And if you are comfortable with me showing other people what you're doing, let me know that too, so I can try to get other people to witness your glory. Other than that, I'm going to sign off for today. Thanks very much, everybody, for hanging out. You know what? I think if you get a chance, check out the Artcasters tonight. That'll be coming on. Well, in Ontario, it'll be coming on at midnight, but I think I might stream tonight around 10:30. And it'll be the 100th episode of Everybody Wants to Listen to My, or Everybody Wants to listen to my podcast. So yeah, all right. I'll let people know anyhow. Phil says, "Hey, I'm back. I need a nap." Jeez, Phil, your timing is fantastic. All right, thanks everybody. It's been fun. This has been a good time, everybody. Have a great day, and if you're following, I'll post a link for when I'm going to come on tonight. Bye for now.